Hello, hello. Is this working? I cannot tell if this is working. Authorize. All right. I think this might be working. Maybe. Let me just double check something really quickly. If I go to YouTube, just want to check one thing. Hi. Does this come up? Interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, and then I hope that this is working. Browser setting. Not sure why chat isn't coming up. Anyway, in this stream, I am hoping to talk a little bit about context engineering, and that's something I recently came up across, and it seems to be getting a lot of traction these days. And the reason why I'm looking at it is because I've been using agents in a particular way, like this way, specifically where I have sub-agents running in parallel, and I'm not getting the best results out of them. And I'm just figuring out why that is. And I think I finally touched on something of relevance, is where, when one agent spawns different multiple sub-agents in parallel, these sub-agents can't talk to each other. They don't know what they're working on. So then when the result comes back at the end, it's all like not, I guess, cohesive. And I just feel like I just wonder, because when you use sub-agents with Claude Code, like when Claude Code uses sub-agents, it's never in this form where it doesn't parallelize its task. It uses sub-agent 1. Sub-agent 1 goes do something on its own, then it comes back with the results and then pass the results to sub-agent 2, and so on and so on. I thought that Anthropic just didn't didn't think of parallelization, but there's actually a reason for this. And the reason for this is a blog by Cognition, and they were explaining why they don't do parallelization like this. And really, I think the main point of sub-agents is about offloading context so that we keep the main context in the main agent as clean as possible. And by doing it like this, I think in my mind it works way better. It just makes sense because you have the main agent that's working. Basically, I think of the main agent now as like a child that you kind of raise throughout throughout your prompt, like your context engineering. So you start with like a child that doesn't know anything, and agents and sub-agents are like I guess the child's teacher. So then one sub-agent, once the child gets a task, it asks the sub-agent to do something. For example, like go search on the web for all these relevant information. The sub-agent does that, and like it has a completely separate context, so it doesn't show any of like the thinking step, which is great to keep the main agent context clear. And then the sub-agent comes back with actual the result, just the result, and all the relevant information to make the main agent more informed about the task that it's going to implement. I think I just think like doing it like this is so much better than trying to have one agent, a main agent, spawn multiple sub agents. It just, I don't think it doesn't work very well. And I've tried it multiple times, and I find just doing in doing parallelization with sub agents just doesn't work currently, at least. So I've been thinking of a better way how I can implement this within my Claude Code workflow. And first, I have to think about how my Claude Code workflow currently works. I am using the create plan command to generate a plan, and then I would use implement to implement the plan. The issue with this two commands, or the current workflow I'm using, is that create plan doesn't do any research, doesn't do any kind of thinking beyond looking at the current implementation. And what I find is there's got to be a way. I feel like the best would be to add a research command before going into plan mode, into creating a plan. So I'm adding an additional step in my workflow in order to make the plan that Claude Code outputs more, I think, more relevant and easier for Claude Code to implement when I run the implement command. And to do that, I've written a research command here, and I'm actually going to try it out right now with a new feature I'm implementing into my Claude Maestro application. And basically what I want to do here is I'm going to use the research command, and I'm gonna paste in my pre-written prompt here. Basically, I'm asking it to add the ability to allow users to use DeepSeek and GLM 4.5 with Claude Code SDK, which is technically in my mind is simple, but obviously there's multiple parts to this. There's like the UI part, and then how do we set that up to send the data from the front end to the back end and all that stuff. I've been reading a lot and watching a lot of videos talking about people's different workflow, specifically in terms of like context engineering and how to make this all work. And I feel like I need to dig a little deeper into this, because what I find is the results that I'm getting back from Claude Code hasn't exactly improved over the time that I've used it. I've gotten better at prompt engineering, but now I need to like think about, okay, how can I get Claude Code even closer to one-shotting like the feature that I'm asking for? And that is going to be through context engineering. By doing this research upfront, having Claude Code output a research markdown file for me that I can review, and then pass that into my create plan command to then generate a plan without having the planning agent go out and do a bunch of web research or code-based analysis. So I'm splitting up the context. So one context is just for the research. Another one is for planning. So then the planning can just focus on actual like changes and modification of the code base. And then again, a separate context for implementation phase. So there's 3 separate contexts that is being used. I don't know if this is, obviously, I have no idea if this is the best way to do this. I'm sure there's other people who, there's, you know, people who knows this way better than me, but I just need to try everything because I feel like this is also a new, like, this feels still very fresh and new, and there's not that much information about it. Everyone's trying out everything they can think of, so this is just me doing it as well. Also, I'm using a new streaming software. Just let me know if this sucks or doesn't work because I have no idea. Like I feel like certain elements in here is kind of weird. Where the chat is placed, I guess I can move it, but it's hard when all my screen's like all taken up. Yeah, let me I guess I can just go over my research.md file here, my research command. Basically, this command is used for performing deep analysis of a feature, including user interaction, use case, technical research. It outputs comprehensive markdown plan containing all research findings. I find I'm still refining this. I feel like it's not 100% like perfect. I don't think it's ever going to get to 100% perfect, but it's like, I would say it's like 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 right now in terms of performance, getting like the best research out of Claude Code. I think there's just a few things that I'm missing out or I'm wording incorrectly in this command. Edge cases and constraints. Identify all edge cases and constraints if applicable. And then I have technical research, and this is where I tell Claude Code to search the web exhaustively for relevant information about these. And then I also tell it, when searching on the web, do breadth first searches, so it searches use multiple different search terms and find different things. And then once it finds the relevant result, it can kind of hone in on that. Okay, looks like it has generated the research file, markdown file here. So third-party model API key support, DeepSeek and GLM 4.5, add ability for users to specify API keys for DeepSeek, GLM allowing switch. Okay, that looks good. And basically, I would have to review the research notes here very meticulously myself. And I would need, there's 2 steps that I would need to review, is the research phase, and then I would need to review the plan as well, rather than just reviewing the plan. And I find that from my experiment, when I have Claude Code do research, it will usually perform better when it comes to planning. And I just don't like it when I go straight into planning phase and it starts writing out a bunch of things that just don't work, and or it does duplicated work. So this is why I'm separating the research phase from the planning phase, just giving me a little bit more control to steer where the model is going. Okay, and then user interactions. The user interface should provide a secure and intuitive way to configure third-party model API keys based on the best practices research. The UI should include settings page integration, okay, with status indicator, great. Security features, API key should be masked Yep. User flow, user navigate to settings, model selects its desired model provider, enters API key, optional custom base URL, test connection to validate configuration, save settings. Okay, model becomes available in task creation drop down. Right, okay. Edge cases, constraints, that's fine. Technical research, DeepSeek findings. So this is like, it'll give, I have it, instead of just writing out what these web links says, I have it directly just have the link in here, so that in plan phase, the agent can go directly and look at these links rather than having to interpret rather than bloating this file. That's basically what I'm saying. And this links directly, as you can see, to Anthropic API, which is exactly how you would override the Anthropic environment variables in order to use DeepSeek models. Okay, this is looking great. GLM 4.5 API ability. Okay. Claude. So if I open this, it links directly again to how to use GLM 4.5 with Claude Code. Exactly what I expected. This is what I would have landed on as well. But also my prompt was very specific on finding this too. Okay. API key management best practices. Yep, this looks good. Framework, library and framework already integrated. Electron store for persistent storage of API configuration. Electron safe API for encrypting API key, Zod for API configuration validation schemas. Okay. Though I guess I shouldn't. Yeah. Okay. Existing. I don't know if I should store the API key in using Zastand, or it should be in Electron Store and using safe storage. I guess this would be the safest thing, but also like I have to think about it. But maybe I'll just have it write out a plan and see what it thinks. Okay. Existing SDK integration, current use Claude Code SDK. Query function accepts configuration options, environment variables handling already in place, ready for base URL and API key override. Great, so I can easily just, this should be pretty easy. Yep, this looks fine. Yep, that's fine as well. Phase 1, phase 2. I thought I already told it not to do implementation approach. Okay, let me just go ahead and security consideration, reference index, relevant code locations, integration points. Okay, it doesn't need integration points, and it does not need to specify close code. And it doesn't need to specify, where's the implementation thing? Doesn't need to specify implementation approach and integration points. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to work with one pane here. Research. Does it say implement? Weird. Web search best practice for implementing this feature. Okay. Framework specific. I don't think I specify anything. And then also, weird. I don't think. Thank you for the raid. Also, I have no idea how raid works, by the way. So, but thank you. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this mentions anything about implementation. So I'm actually going to remove environment variable injection point. I guess this is exactly what I would do as well. Setting persistent. I'm gonna have Claude Code change this research notes a bit, and the reason for that is because it was using safe storage somewhere, safe storage API. So if I don't like that it's going to add electron store schema here. Let's see. Oh, implementation approach. Actually, I don't want this at all. This is not that, because that's really what the plan should be doing, and it's not what research notes should include. Research notes should just be explanation of the feature in detail, as well as how the user will interact with the said feature, as well as any edge cases that comes up. So it's a very high level overview of what the feature is and what kind of, I guess like what the edge cases are, but doesn't go into the coding details. It will also, the research note should also specify like the links and any resources that the planning agent should look at or needs to look at before actually implementing, before actually creating the plan. Oh, okay. Hopefully this is working. Wait, let me see if I can. All right, now I will actually customize my create plan MD file, which is still the old one and I have not implemented the research into my create plan